Hey everyone, I'm Evan. I'm a Philadelphia-based photographer and video editor, and today I'm going to talk to you about my first impressions on the Mamiya RB67. So this isn't going to be a formal review of the RB67. I'm just going to give my first impressions of owning it the past couple months, just the things that I like about it, the things I don't like about it, and the reason why I traded my Pentax 6.7 for it. The first and biggest reason why I love the RB is because it's fully mechanical, meaning that there's no battery needed to operate it. It's just a bunch of gears and doodads and, you know, the things. And it's also kind of one of my guidelines now for purchasing new film cameras is they have to be fully mechanical unless they're like super cool. Just because that eliminates a ton of film cameras that I just don't have the money or the time to spend shooting. With that being said, the RB is just a mechanical workhorse. Everything is so tactile and it has just like great sounding mechanics. The shutter slap, the aperture ring, you know, just everything about it is awesome. The next thing I love about the RB is by far the waist level viewfinder. It's just, there's a bug on my screen. Rude. The waist level viewfinder on the RB67 is just a dream to look through. It's by far one of the best viewing experiences I've had with a camera. I have very limited experience with waist level viewfinders. I just have the Yashica Mat, which also has a Rick Olsen screen in it, so super bright, and that kind of spoiled me for waist level viewfinders and just viewfinders in general because that thing is super bright. The viewing experience on the RB67 is something I haven't experienced yet. The viewfinder is so big and so bright, and that magnifier, the pop-up magnifier to nail that focus, ooh, it's something else. It's probably the best waist level finder on a camera. Now, if you're looking to get into a medium format interchangeable lens system camera, the RB is a great one to go with because the glass is relatively affordable. These like lenses can be had for like dirt cheap. Mine came with the 127mm 3.5 NB. I think it just stands for new barrel. And then I also got a 50mm f4.5. And that thing is so sharp. Like, I'm just like, I guess this whole review is just like Evan being lost for words for how much he really likes his camera. Which is great because I feel like I didn't feel this way about the Pentax 6.7, which everybody loves. And I mean, for a good reason. I mean, it is a beautiful camera. I don't know, the RB takes the cake. I don't think anybody would be disappointed with the photos that come out of these lenses. A big selling point of the RB is that everything is modular, so you can change out the viewfinder. If you don't like the waist level, and like mine, sometimes your brain can't compute which way is right or left, you can get a prism finder, you can get a metered prism finder, you can get interchangeable backs, which are huge, because, you know, some days you don't feel like finishing the roll of Cinestill 50D that you put in there and you want to shoot Portra 400, or you're on a shoot and you want to mix it up a little bit. You got one back filled with color, one filled with black and white, and it's just, you're good to go. Basically, you could build this out to however you want Another unique feature of the RB is that it uses leaf shutter lenses. It's just pretty cool. The shutter's in the lens, not the body. It's great for hand holding at lower shutter speeds, or if you're doing studio photography, they're able to sync at, you know, all shutter speeds, whereas a lot of cameras are like, at least more modern ones are like at 1/250th of a second. And on some film cameras like the Pentax 6.7, I think it was 1/30th of a second. On the M6, it's like 1/50th of a second. So it's just really great for cutting out the ambient light in your shots. And you don't have to worry about motion blur of your subject, which is great. The last thing that I really like about the RB is, oddly enough, the ergonomics. For some reason, I just find it really easy to handhold compared to the Pentax, which I'll get into a little bit later. The focusing knobs just kind of, you can just kind of grip your fingies around it, and it's just easier to hold and carry around. It's still a hefty boy, a thick boy, but it's easy. It's easy. I mean, your arms do get tired after a while. Probably need to go to the gym or something. Love it. 10 out of 10. Now it's time to get into the things that I am not so hot on for this camera. There's not a ton of fast lenses for it. With the Pentax, you got the beautiful, well-regarded S-tier 105mm f2.4, which is just an absolute beauty. And on the RZ, you have the 110mm 2.8. I do wish there was one that was faster than, I think it's 3.8, but or even a way to mount RZ lenses on the RB, because that would be a game changer. What was the other thing? There was lenses. Oh, I got it.
Don't got it. You klutz.
Its very small gripe is that the waist level viewfinder makes it harder to get higher points of view, like eye level. And I think that just comes back to like everything that I've shot on so far has had like an eye level viewfinder. So it's just kind of getting used to that. But there is a way to get higher points of view where you kind of like angle it and like point it down at your subject. It's kind of hard. It's something you have to like practice. The last thing that's kind of a pain is if you're doing long exposures. It's kind of like a tricky process that I don't think a lot of people talk about too much. So it's not kind of like your typical, like you set it to bulb and you just put in your cable release and then just like hold it in, and then once you let it go, everything is good. You can advance. But with this one, it's kind of like a two-step process. So you put the cable release not in the shutter button, but in the mirror up slot of the lens. When you're taking your long exposure, you cock the mirror, and then you press the shutter button, and that flips the mirror up. And now it sounds like you took a picture, but you really didn't. So the next step is to take your shutter release and then hold it in for however long that you need to, and then let it go. And then you have to cover the lens so it doesn't expose, because the shutter doesn't actually close when you let go of the shutter release cable. And you have to cover the lens, and then you either have to switch the this is a weird motion. You either have to switch the shutter speed, and then that'll close it, or you can like slightly move the mirror reset lever thing. Just little tap, and then you'll hear that little click, and then you can move on as you usually would. Okay, now for the part that I'm sure you've all been waiting for this entire video. Why did I get rid of my Pentax 6.7 for this camera? The first one, everything is just so damn expensive for it. You want the 105? Which version do you want? They're all expensive, but some more expensive than the others. Hand over your kidney. Oh, you want a wood handle for it? To actually be able to hold this monstrosity of a camera? I need your appendix. Oh, you want f2.8 35mm equivalent leaf shutter lens? Listen, we don't even want any body parts, we just want your soul. I wouldn't have an issue if I thought it was worth it. In my opinion, it's definitely not. Another reason why I had to get rid of it was the ergonomics just weren't great unless you had like one of those 3D printed handles, or you sold your soul for the wood handle. On the sides where you would naturally grip the camera are just kind of flat, and it makes it hard unless you have like pretty big hands, which I have like maybe average size hands. Make it really difficult to hold for a long period of time. Another thing, the viewfinder, at least on my copy, was super dim, which sometimes isn't like a huge, make or break case, but when you are using that 105 and shooting wide open, and it makes it super difficult to nail your focus, and your depth of field is already razor thin. You're gonna have to pay again to get like a bright screen or a magnifier for it. I am kind of dunking on the Pentax 6.7 right now, but not gonna lie, I made some of my favorite photos with that camera, and I still kind of miss it in that aspect, but slam dunk on the Pentax 6.7. Alright, well that concludes the video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Let me know down below what your thoughts on the RB is, if you have one, or if you're looking to get one, or if you're a Pentax 6.7 user, and some things that I maybe have missed about what makes that camera so great. Let me know down below. But in that case, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.